avid bassing fans. All right, so I've had numerous questions on about how I actually do my flipping, or I should say pitching, because flipping's pretty close range. You're just using kind of your just this amount of line right here and flipping into the exact same thing. I do a lot of pitching, anywhere from 5 feet from the boat up to 30 feet away from the boat, depending on what I'm fishing. But the question I get asked a lot is, how am I doing it? And what's my setup on how I'm doing it, and my setup on my reels? So this is my number one go-to pitch and reel and rod here. This is the Shimano Crotto K. This is the 200XG. It is an 8-to-1 gear ratio. I want a fast gear ratio because I want to go in and out quick. I don't want to waste no time. I don't need a big or a low speed reel. I like a high speed reel. The rod it's a Ducket. It's a 7.6. This is a heavy power fast action tip. This is probably my favorite setup for pitching. But as far as setup on the reel, I will tell you guys, if you're going to start off doing this, the best thing you can start off with is about a 3/4 ounce jig. Get an old jig you don't use anymore, something like that. Set you up a couple of buckets in your yard or something. Just anything, any target really would work. And set them up at different distances. Start with about 5 feet or 10 foot, then go to maybe like 20 foot, maybe one at 25 foot or something like that, and try it at different angles too. But keep in mind, when you do this, stand on a 5-gallon bucket if you're going to be fishing from a boat. That's going to get you used to coming down. If you're a bank fisherman, best thing I can tell you right there is, one, you don't want a 7.6 rod. You want something a little shorter. I would say like a 6.6 or even a 7 foot if you're a little bit taller. But as far as my setup on my reel, I can tell you guys, when you get a reel, go ahead and crank that thing open to where it's loose. I don't know if you can hear this or not, but it's actually extremely loose. That whole spool in there will knock back and forth because I've got it set so loose. And the reason being is you're going to use your thumb a lot on this. So just keep it extremely loose and just do small pitchings. All right, guys, so we're going to do a small pitch here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just nice and easy. You can control that with your thumb the entire time. It's very, very, very simple. Now, if you're scared of that spool, just remember, you're going to have your thumb on there. You're going to control that. So just keep throwing it out there until you get good control with your thumb on that real loose spool. Do not, under any circumstances, don't hold this thing like this. You're going to end up with a hook in your hand. So, and don't bow your tip back. Do not do this. You want this loose. What I do a lot of times is I'll get the back of the hook right here. I'll either grab it like this, and that's how I'll pitch, or I'll grab right here on top of the weight. And the reason I do that is it slides out real easy. You're just going to let that thing free fall out of your hand like that. That's all you got to do. I know I make it look kind of easy, but trust me, once you guys get into it, it is pretty dang easy. When you get into your farther pitching, after you get comfortable with your close range stuff like that, and like I said, put your buckets out there, put you something out there that you're going to pitch to, so you can get used to it and you know where you're going to throw. Once you get used to it a little bit more, you'll have a little bit better control over your thumb and that loose spool, and you can really just whip it out there. And I mean, I've got probably 30-35 feet of pitch right there. And it does not take long to get there, trust me, guys. The one other thing I will tell you that a lot of guys ask is they'll see me pitch underneath limbs, skipping it. I will tell you, from a beginner standpoint to a professional standpoint, skipping anything in with a bait caster is not easy. There's been guys I fished with that have fished probably 25 years longer than I have and still can't skip. It's not easy to do. So if you try to get into that, make sure you are extremely comfortable with pitching first. When you get into skipping, there again, you're going to want that spool extremely loose. I don't have anything to pitch under here, but I can tell you the main thing you want to do is when you're pitching, keep this in mind, guys. Look at where I'm at here. I'm almost dead even with my reel, just barely above it. That's where I like to start from. If you get down here, what's going to happen is you're going to end up flipping it up in the air. So keep in mind, the shorter you got it, the lower it's going to stay to the water. The longer you have it, the more up in the air you're going to be. So a good rule of thumb is keep it even with your spool. That's about right about perfect to where you want to start. Like I said, when you get a little bit better, a little bit more used to it, then you can start going. Like when I'm doing like flipping under trees and stuff, I'm actually about right here. And you can see it's about 6 to 8 inches above where I normally start. And I can keep it real low to the ground. It goes very, very easy. When you're practicing with this, I would definitely say, like I said, get you an old jig, a 3/4 ounce jig. You can start with a 1/2 ounce, but 3/4, the more weight you have, the easier it is to feel that spool. It's going to go a lot faster. You're going to feel more of it, so you actually know what you're feeling when you start stepping down in your weights. This is just a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight. I don't really go below that. 1/4 ounce is about the lowest I go. But typically, I would say 90% of the time, I'm either a 3/8 or 1/2 ounce, most of the time when I'm doing any of this. I like to get under and over cover and stuff like that. I like to feel everything down there. The 1/4 ounce is real good for open stuff that you're not going to have like a bunch of weeds and stuff and grass and stuff like that. That's why I've got this on there. I wasn't fishing around anything like that. I was just kind of coming up over limbs, brush piles, stumps, stuff like that. So that's when I stick with something like a 1/4 ounce. Like I said, if you guys are going around a bunch of grass mats, stuff like that, not throwing into them, but around them, I'm going to suggest a 1/2 ounce. So don't forget, guys, Monday night we're going to do another live stream. I'm working on a pretty good giveaway right now, so you guys want to tune in for that. I'll drop this video. This will be dropping, I guess it'll be Sunday morning by when this drops. So we'll see you on Tackle Junkie's video on live stream Sunday night. He comes on at 7. Don't make sure you guys go to that. And then I'll see you guys on my live stream on Monday night at 7. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that like button. And we'll see you guys again next time. Thanks.